Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Perspective. We'll be talking about the Daily Mail apology to the Prime Minister. We've also had him come and say that he's been vindicated as far as this apology is concerned. The ridicule from the former Prime Minister, the campaign against his character, all of that. He said, I bow my head in humility before Allah for my vindication. For 3 long years, Imran and his minions went to any limit to assassinate my character. In their smear campaign, they didn't bother if their actions brought a bad name to Pakistan and damaged its relations with friendly countries. They mocked and ridiculed me and my family through baseless allegations, but I had my unwavering faith in Allah, for only He could expose their brazen lies. Disinformation and fake news have limited shelf life, and truth is ultimate victor. After NCA, Daily Mail story has proven it. We'll be talking about the legal ramifications, also the political ramifications for the Prime Minister of this apology by Daily Mail, the narrative of the opposition, which had been fueled based on this story, which now stands baseless. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about the politics in Punjab and KP, the delay as far as the dissolution of assemblies is concerned, also the presser by the Interior Minister when the government stands adamant that they will continue as far as the National Assembly is concerned, regardless of what the former Prime Minister decides with regard to both Punjab and KP. Why is there a delay? Is there are we going to see any action from the opposition, both the government in KP and Punjab? All of that today on Perspective. I have with me today Rana Maqbool Ahmad, who's Senator PMLN. Thank you for being with us. We also have with us Naveed Aman Khan, who's a political analyst. Thank you for joining us. Later on, we'll be joined by other guests. Rana Sahab, we've seen the Daily Mail story. We've seen the apology pursuant to that story. Of course, we've also seen the Prime Minister say categorically and seen that it vindicates his own narrative, what he'd always been saying. How do you view this in the sense that at this time, overall, as far as the political climate is concerned, we've also had other audios come out recently implicating the former Prime Minister. We've also seen, overall, this is in addition to what has already been said with regard to the Tosha Khana, with regard to, the watch, all of that is preceding this. How do you look at this overall now? And now, particularly the Daily Mail apology with regard to the Prime Minister?
Thank you very much, Farooq. I really grateful you have given me the opportunity to speak on this. I also pay my salam to my friend, Mr. Naveed.
Assalamu
alaikum. Thank you very much. It's a sheer defeat of a person and the leader of opposition who did have mastery on the art of character assassination. Incomparable he is in character assassination of his opponents. It's a very deceitful conduct and highly objectionable. It doesn't suit and behove of a statesman. It's repugnant to the rules and principles of genuine politics. He is used to hit below the belt. And he has learned insulting everybody who is opposing him. It's very unfortunate. To me, he is misfit for the politics of the nation. He is abusive, he is derogatory, he is provocative, and his diction is highly objectionable. So he has not played any constructive role towards
Rana Sahab, I want to talk about, of course, in
yes,
terms of what
I'm coming to the same.
Okay.
Yes, this is an outcome of this misconduct of he and his coterie and his disciples like Shahzad Akbar. They manage in such a manner that David Rose was called in Pakistan. He was briefed and he was also taken to the certain prisons. He met certain people. Then he was made fully prepared to cast aspersions
Hmm.
on the conduct of his opponent, Mr. Shahbaz Sharif. Now, after 2 years or 3 years, they have tendered apology. What does it mean? That not only he tried to disgrace his opponent, he also resorted to defamatory tactics against his own country.
Hmm.
If you try to damage the image of the senior
Hmm.
most politicians in the country,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
simultaneously damage the image of your own country.
Hmm.
This is a great, this is a great condemnable disservice to the nation.
Hmm.
This is what my view is. Not only this issue of Daily Mail.
Hmm.
Above that, there was volleys of allegations regarding money laundering,
Hmm.
which was taken up by the National Crime Agency in London. You might
Hmm.
remember,
Hmm.
and the donkey load of material was provided by Shahzad Akbar to them
Hmm.
on behest
Hmm.
of Mr. Imran Khan.
Hmm.
That was thoroughly investigated for full 2 years by NCA, and NCA finally, after investigation, ruled this is all cock and bull story. There is
Hmm.
no evidence and no ingredient of money laundering
Rana Sahab, let
in
me
these
come back to you.
transactions.
I'll come back to you, and on this point, let me go to Naveed Aman Sahab. Naveed Sahab, of course, as far as the narrative of the PTI is concerned, overall, of course, a lot of it rested on, most of it, I would say, rested on this truthfulness, on what they termed as corrupt, free style of government, with the former Prime Minister himself being honest. How do you view these latest, series of events? If we look at them together, of course, the Daily Mail apology, also, the recent series of audios, I would, even the past audios we've seen, the Tosha Khana, the claim as far as the shopkeeper regarding the watch is concerned, all of those things. Do you think that that narrative is now, clearly irreparably damaged? How do you look at it?
Thank you very much, Maru, and Assalamu alaikum to my honorable fellows, Rana Saab and you.
Hmm.
In fact, you have put many questions, but briefly I'll go one after the other.
Hmm.
As far as the Daily Mail matter is concerned, it was concocted story. The story was engineered by the former Prime Minister Imran Khan and
Hmm.
backed by Shahzad Akbar. Imran Khan should have known that such behavior, such attitude, such steps all always damage country and the nation. When you defame a politician, a very senior politician of our country, or when you blame any person of high ranks in the country, you
Hmm.
in fact defame, demoralize, and disgrace the nation
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
entire world.
Hmm.
He defames the politicians,
Hmm.
he disgraces the institutions,
Hmm.
the bureaucracy, even the nation.
Hmm.
And if he just analyze his behavior,
Hmm.
his behavior is not a behavior of a politician, of a
Hmm.
serious politician, of a
But of course, it
statesman.
has ramifications for his own political party also. Like I said, for the
Definitely,
narrative that he's been giving to his followers also.
definitely, he is damaging himself,
Hmm.
his followers, and
Hmm.
his companions in the party. And he
Hmm.
has done irreparable loss to PTI as well. His companions and his MNAs, MPAs,
Hmm.
uh, they, they are in trouble. They don't know where to go, whether to leave the party or remain within the party.
Hmm.
As far as the Punjab is concerned, uh, Pervez Elahi Saab, he is very close ally of PTI in Punjab, and he is governing as chief minister in
Hmm.
Punjab. But
Hmm.
he is not ready to follow Imran Khan on the resolution of the assemblies in Punjab, assembly in
On that
Punjab.
note, I want to
Why?
go to Zaid Kashkori Sahab. I'll come back to you. Zaid Sahab, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely, Maro.
Zaid Sahab, we've been talking, I don't know if you've been listening, but Naveed Aman Sahab is talking about the fact that as far as Chief Minister Punjab is concerned, he's been, we've seen a delay as far as, of course, there have been, what can one say, there have been some clarifications that have come from the PMLQ regarding, their allegiance, one would say, to Imran Khan Sahab. But there's also this delay. There's also, unquestionably a delay. There was statements they were made by the former Prime Minister himself about disillusion, and then we've seen, pursuant to that, there being this undue delay. How do you view this particularly?
I was just listening to your respectable guest as well, coming and continue with the debate that I think my opinion is that breaking the deadlock at the moment between the government, obviously, and the PTI, the major stakeholder, it's time for the both political parties to figure out a way out, okay, how to get rid of this political deadlock between PDM and PTI, just for the sake of good things might be coming up in the state way, because it's the right time. We are facing major challenges on different front, and this deadlock should come to an end now, because the finance minister, the true representative of Nawaz Sharif, he held a marathon meeting, 3 marathon back-to-back meeting with the President of Pakistan, who is also playing vital role on behalf of his political party, and also obviously he is the head of the state as well. So he's playing absolutely very decisive role. And Chairman Senate Sadiq Sinjarani also held a meeting with the Chief Minister of Punjab and many other leaders as well. It means that there uh, uh, seem to be consciousness on all the front, and but the problem is that PTI is not going to understand uh, as it did not in the past, because it has been 7 months down the line they started and pulled out people and bring and bringing different protest and bringing people on the street and having you know no reason, that because the current government have a constitutional mandate to serve by October 2023, but they want early election. Obviously, they are in the opposition. They want to keep up this momentum, but keeping up this momentum does not mean this that to compel the government to go for the
So what do you expect now,
early election.
Zaid Saab? Of course, pursuant to these meetings that you're talking about, do you think that there's likely, because is that the reason why we've seen this delay, in terms of as far as going forward if to dissolution of assemblies are concerned? Of course, we also have a statement as far as the KP assembly is concerned, saying that there is some disagreement there within the party.
Within the party, it's true that this is one of the prime reasons that PTI seem to be on the back foot now. They first announced that they are going to dissolve assemblies in Punjab and KPK, and when obviously Pervez Ilahi, he's also the leader of Pakistan Muslim League Q, a political party which has its stake in the province of Punjab as well, and he got opportunity to serve the province and lead the province, and obviously he wanted to regain the glory of his political party. He want to just present the budget. He want to just spread his footprint
But
across
Zaid Saab, in the kind of circumstances that we are seeing at this time in terms of economy also, you've also spoken about it, it's certainly not going to be easy, when you say that he would want to give the budget, or, those are challenges for any political party.
It's true, Mark. The economy is providing the ground for the negotiation for PTI and PDM as well. And the other side can be blamed, solely for where things stand at the moment. But we are hoping that the finance minister is struggling to grab opportunity and convince friendly countries to support Pakistan at different front. And this is the only reason that the opposition and the PDM, the government, now started a negotiation, and it could happen either in March, but it looks like at this stage that elections are not going to happen at least in March or April next year. Uh, the budget would come first, and then any consensus date comes up where both stakeholder could
So
convince
you're
to
saying
each
that
other that
the former Prime
this
Minister is
is
backtracking now because there might be chances of some sort of an agreement with the government. On that note, let me come back to you. Rana Sahab, are you following? Can you confirm this? Do you think that there are chances? Of course, we have the meetings between the president and the finance minister. All of those things are underway. They have happened. Do you think there are chances of that kind of breakthrough?
Yes, chances are there, and all the parties are serious about it. And especially the president already intervened, but he was not encouraged by Mr. Imran Khan. But later on, there are stakeholders who are asking him and other parties to sit together and resolve the issue in a reasonable manner and the terms and conditions which should be acceptable to both the parties. There is no other solution. And more so, what I foresee, you might remember, Maruf, every time I said that there'll be a solution on the parley table. And number two, Mr. Imran Khan will get back to the parliament. This is for sure. He hasn't been left with any other choice. Let me clarify about his strategy about the dissolution of the provincial assemblies. He was never serious about it. Had he been serious, it takes only 1 minute. The only formality is the chief minister has to send an advice to the governor for dissolution of assembly. What is this once you announce and then you say we'll discuss it and then we'll reach some conclusion? This is no solution to this issue. But the real fact is he put a lot of pressure on the federal government and the GHQ as well, and he threatened that he'll topsy-turvy the whole system, including the federal capital. Then he tried to gather millions of. Let me complete, Marah. I give you the reason that he will collect millions of people who will practically attack Islamabad. He couldn't succeed at all, and you might imagine, and you must have seen the millions of people he used to propagate and claim. No, he didn't have any choice, only he had evolved a strategy to wriggle out of the situation. This is just a wriggling out of the situation. They are not going to dissolve the assemblies at all. They know it that in the process, if there is some motion of no confidence, if some reference by the governor for getting the vote of confidence, and even if they during the session, because Pervez Elahi is keeping the assembly in session, 4 or 5 MPs stand up and say, we don't have trust in the chief minister. The assembly cannot be dissolved. More so, 19 members of PMLN have been suspended by the speaker. They have made a petition to the High Court. How can 19 people in one go be deprived of the right to vote? So they are not aiming at dissolution of the assembly. They are just gaining time.
You're saying that this is a pressure tactic. Let me come back to you. Naveed Saab, do you agree? You think that it was a pressure tactic which failed or seems to be failing as we speak? He's talking about dissolution, but the government seems to have taken him on it. And, there is now categorical no. And they're saying that, well, go ahead and do what you want as far as KP and Punjab is concerned, but we will not cave as far as the National Assembly is concerned. And that will continue. In terms of being in governance, what does the former Prime Minister hope to gain, considering, of course, that he's already in majority in these provinces and he will contest again, after which, what does he stand to achieve, in your opinion?
Maruf, number one, the assemblies will not be dissolved.
Okay.
Number two, because Parvez Ilahi Saab and PTI, they are not on one page for the dissolution of the
Okay.
assemblies. He is the main hurdle, and I think he is on right track.
We've also
He
had the KP assembly now, as far as the PTI is concerned, there are reservations there also.
and PTI itself is divided on this matter. Number one, Imran Khan always speaks first, thinks later. He announces and then he tries to create a consensus, which is never created. He said that we'll dissolve, and then he went to his party and his allies, both party and the allies. They refused to go for the dissolution because the next budget is in the process, number one. Number two, Election Commission has refused categorically all the parties that Election Commission cannot hold general elections within 2-3 months. Number three, census is underway. Number four, the constituencies are being finalized. So the tasks are too high, too big, and too many. Unless you solve these basic and the fundamental issues before the general elections, you can't go. What will you achieve if the things are undone or halfly done or ineffectively done? Imran Khan will have to think very seriously like
Where
a
are you,
politician.
Naveed Saab? What is your opinion on this? The fact that the talks might be having, of course, now the fact that the air, so to speak, has been taken out of his whole, this balloon of disillusion that was thrown out as far as the former Prime Minister is concerned, with the government taking him on it. Do you think that there is then, Rana Saab is agreeing with me on this, Syed Gishkori Saab is also saying that there are chances that there will be some sort of a breakthrough, because he is probably, going to have to see, as far as the situation is concerned, with the PMLQ, with the KP assembly overall, and of course what he stands to gain by this huge step that he said that he's purporting to take.
Maruk, he will gain nothing out of it. Rather, he will have to lose many things. Like,
so that will translate into perhaps the talks going through then.
absolutely. If we just consider PMLQ, and PMLQ means Parvez Ilahi. When we consider Parvez Ilahi as Chief Minister, he is negotiating with Imran Khan on seat adjustments, and he is demanding more for the next elections. Why is he reluctant to dissolve the Punjab Assembly? Because Imran Khan is not ready and is not ready to ensure him anything in the next elections. He just wants to dissolve the assemblies, and that's all. But
Naveed Saab, now we've had the government also make an offer to the PMLQ.
Yes, of course. Of course, PMLQ is more demanding, and they are in a very strong position. Either way, if they um, turn their way towards PDM, Parvez Ilahi will again be the Chief Minister. So Parvez Ilahi, as the Chief Minister, is in a strong position, and I don't think that Imran Khan will be in the position to force him or to dissolve Punjab Assembly. He has embarrassed himself after the announcement of quitting the National Assembly, and he has embarrassed himself and his party after announcement of the dissolution of this Punjab and KPK assemblies.
Let me come back to you. Syed Saab, can you hear me?
Absolutely, Maruk.
Syed Saab, overall, in terms of the narrative, we of course, you've been following the Daily Mail apology also. That itself is a huge, step as far as vindication of the Prime Minister and, his stance on this issue is concerned. And a lot of politics surrounding the PTI, surrounding, the former Prime Minister was based on this. of course, this will, do you agree, have an effect on his supporter base in addition to all the other factors and that are now coming to light? You know, if you look at the Tosha Khana case, if you look at the whole, you know, there are reports about more jewelry perhaps surfacing, all of those things. Do you think that that also is perhaps leading to a kind of urgency as far as the former Prime Minister himself is concerned? Because, you know, he wants to keep his supporter base to what he feels might be his popularity.
Uh, Yes, this has been a problem. If we go through the last 7 months, you
Hmm.
must have seen this that on the many front, Mr. Imran Khan
Hmm.
uh, lost many very important things
Hmm.
politically, particularly. First of all, he
Hmm.
failed to bring out public on the street, and he was planning to attack the
Hmm.
federal capital with
Hmm.
hundred of people, hundred and thousands of people, but he could not. And
Hmm.
the latest thing, you know, what happened yesterday
Hmm.
is a vindication that Imran Khan lost and many friends. He has only one card politically at the
Hmm.
moment,
Hmm.
just to dissolve KPK, and we are not clear about the Punjab province because
Hmm.
Chaudhry Pervez Ilahi, the seasoned politician, and there are many concerns, and he categorically said uh, in a TV interview that by April or March 2023, he
Hmm.
is not going to dissolve the provincial assembly. And
Hmm.
this is the only stumbling block in Imran Khan way to not to do this. And this is the hope we are discussing here, that it's time for both sides to show
Hmm.
flexibility and realize that the
Hmm.
future of more than 240 million people is
Hmm.
at stake. Our economy is not good and we are struggling. And uh, obviously, country faces a change of new wave of terrorism as well.
Hmm.
It's the time
Hmm.
for the political parties to come up uh, with the consensus and whatever they want to do, and just to which could pave the way for all stakeholders for the general election, a timely general election, where all political parties and stakeholders could develop the
Zahid
consensus.
Sahab, pursuant to this offer that the government also has made, the PDM also has made to, you know, there are reports to the Chief Minister Punjab. Do you think that there's a chance that we might see some change in Punjab?
There are many reports, by the way. There could be a change, but my understanding, and particularly my information, I don't want to quote a very important person of PMLN. Just a while ago, that I asked her a query about any possible change in the largest province of Punjab. They said no, because PDM understand, uh, cognizant it cannot solve the economic crisis, and it could be another crisis in the Punjab province if they start discussing and just to change the government, because timing is very important. They
Hmm.
would not try it, because as our one of panelists was saying, that 18 members of the province
Hmm. Hmm.
cannot enter into the proceeding, cannot
Hmm.
participate into the proceeding, because the
And that matters with the
speaker,
Supreme Court.
there are many legal uh,
Hmm.
you know, obstacles and ifs and buts are involved, and
Hmm.
that's why a motion could not be moved against Pervez Ilahi, the Chief Minister of Punjab. So there are
Hmm.
many problems. I don't see any quick or immediate change, at least in the largest province, because this is good for both, for PTM and the PMLQ, but PTI top
Hmm.
leadership consistently discussing many options, and
Hmm.
the last week, most likely the last decade after December 20th, PTI could take any decision, because PTI understand timing is very important in Pakistan politics, and if they cannot dissolve the assemblies in the month of December, then it means that they would lose all the cord politically. Could be a good reason for them, and they can do anything. But at the moment, we are discussing that dissolution of assembly could not happen in the
But
province
Zaid
of
Sahab,
Punjab.
if dissolution of assemblies cannot happen, it's a card that the former Prime Minister has shown by not choosing to go down that route. He's also going to then, of course, he's given that up, so to speak. He's revealed it. He's choosing not to do it. Then, as in terms of options, so to speak, very little options seem to be left as far as the PTI is concerned. Other than agitation, first it was agitation on the roads, which didn't really happen. The long march, which dragged on. Then it was followed by this statement of dissolution of assemblies, which, if according to you, and all signs seem to point that way, will not likely happen. Then the other option only seems to be perhaps, agreeing with the government to come to the table for talks.
Maruf,
And let's see.
I'm sorry to cut you. This is very important question and also information.
Ji, this Zaid Sahab?
Perhaps.
Right, I think there's a problem with audio. We'll come back after a short break and talk more about what the political scenario seems to hold for us in the next couple of weeks. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host, Ahmed Nabil.
Pakistan.
Great
I love
to
Pakistan.
Yeah,
Loved my first day in Pakistan. I've been welcomed and the people have been so warm, so hospitable.
People of Pakistan are some of the most welcoming and some of the most passionate, especially for what we do.
Whatever we can possibly get for the youth of Pakistan should be introduced in Pakistan.
Is that the Pakistan flag flying at these events is a massive win for the country.
Shan Masood has evolved a lot.
and I genuinely feel that this time, it's anybody's World Cup. You're going to see a lot of upset.
Pakistan hasn't looked back as well as the cricket is concerned.
With three guys that can bowl 90 miles an hour, got a mystery spinner.
And when it's a global sport, it should be played in any country regardless of where it is played.
It cannot get bigger than what we've got tonight.
It's just really amazing to be here.
Pakistan, Zindabad.
Welcome back. We have with us Hafiz Ehsan Khokar, who's Advocate Supreme Court. Ji, Hafiz Sahab, can you hear me? Hafiz? Ji, Rana Sahab, we've been talking about, earlier Zaid Sahab was talking about particularly whether the possibility, you also said that, it's possible, certainly, the talks may go forward, may succeed with the former Prime Minister. What kind of a shape will they take? Do you think there's a chance he might return to the Assembly? What will happen in your opinion? I understand. I mean, of course, it's your opinion at this point.
God willing, he'll come back to the Assembly. He doesn't have any choice.
Okay.
There are not many avenues left for him to choose. And go ahead, he has to come back to the Assembly because he has already consumed all options. So that will be the proper parliamentary and political strategy to get
but
back
Rana
to the
Sahib,
Assembly.
won't it affect his own narrative, the people, his own followers considerably, were he to choose to return to the assemblies? Because, people who have been following that narrative, how it started from the conspiracy, it then came down to, because of the conspiracy, it came down to the long march. There have been changes in that narrative, so to speak. There hasn't been that one narrative that he's stuck by, and those have changed considerably over time.
Yes, you're right, absolutely. But the intensity and strength of all the steps he has been taking is mitigating with the passage of time, and he is losing the impact. And the pressure he tried to mount, that has not worked at all. He hasn't been left with any choice except for coming back to the parliament. This is what the Supreme Court told him. This is what lot many other people, the men of opinion, have been telling him.
So that aggressive stance, that politics of agitation, and people who wanted to follow that those followers of his will have to now choose to go down another way, as I understand what you're saying. Let me come back to Naveed sir, do you agree in terms of the legal challenges also? I'm going to go to Hafiz Ahsan Kokar, who's a lawyer, on this, but overall, in terms of the legal challenges for the former Prime Minister, they're also manifold. We've seen, as in terms of the Tosha Khana case, new details coming to light. All of those things are also, proceeding at this time. And he has alluded a lot of times to the fact, on disqualification himself, he mentions it. Do you think that's also something he fears?
Yes, of course. As far as Tosha Khana case is concerned, Imran Khan is in real trouble, and he can be disqualified by the courts on Tosha Khana matter. I have a suggestion about Tosha Khana matter as well. The government should allow the construction of a museum in Islamabad, and all these gifts and the presents should be placed in that museum. And everybody, the countrymen as well as the foreigners, they should be allowed to visit the museum, have selfies, have details about the presents, and none of the politicians, the ministers, the presidents, the prime ministers, the governors, none of them should be allowed to purchase or retain these presents to them.
Of course, that would mean changing the law, and it has been for a long time.
If they want to retain it, they need to pay 10 times more than the actual price. Then I think nobody will retain it, and it is state property. It will remain a state property for our next generations. The generations should come to know who has presented to whom, and what is presented. So it's a very, very important thing for our next generations. So I think none of them should be allowed to purchase or retain such things. Imran Khan has done.
Let me come back to you. I have with us Hafiz Ahsan Kokar. I want to ask his legal opinion on this. Ji, Hafiz Saab, can you hear me? Hafiz Saab? Okay. Ji, Rana Saab, there's a problem with audio overall. Whatever happens as far as, whatever the change in law, if we see, which is what Naveed Saab is saying, is a different matter. But at this present time, as far as the Tosha Khana case is concerned, as far as the conspiracy narrative is concerned, as far as politics of agitation is concerned, as far as Long March is concerned, the dissolution of assemblies is concerned, all of those things have happened since March of last year. And, the former Prime Minister seems to have dawdled in different kind of strategies to fuel what he sees or perceives as his enthusiasm, his followers and their enthusiasm. But now, in terms of the timeline, of course, the government has remained steadfast in their their categorical refusal of not moving towards any kind of general elections before the legit term is over. Do you think that graph is now going down?
Surely I agree with you, Madhav, because his all ventures, he has really tumbled in a very bad manner, without any consequences, without any results. May it be his venture against appointment of the army officers, may it be about resignation of the government, may it be about calling for the elections. He has not succeeded. I'm sorry to say this, that as my friend Naveed already pointed out, that he takes action first and thinks later. But I'll beg to disagree with him. He only takes action he doesn't think at all. Because what I understand from his conduct, that he has a brain of a bird, neither wit nor wisdom. He raises something, then he destroyed the same thing himself. He raises superstructure, then he destroys it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That is his problem. So, therefore, I don't think so he'll land anywhere. But I can foresee with his tactics, he is going to lose the next general elections because he's so badly exposed. And as far as his
Rana
slogan
Sahib,
about
there are
integrity,
reports that Mia Sahib himself, Mia Nawaz Sharif, will himself come and, head the election campaign, and that is likely, his return is also imminent?
Malini, it's absolutely correct report, and it's a confirmed report. There is no iota of doubt. He's come over, he'll lead the campaign, and I may also tell you and break this news to you, this is my assessment, not anybody's report, he'll become the next Prime Minister as well. Because I may tell you, once he was ousted by Pervez Musharraf, and Pervez Musharraf being an army general and he was a martial arts, people were not listening to this thing. I used to tell them that Mia Nawaz will come back and he'll become the Prime Minister. They would say, are you in senses? He will topple the army general and he'll become a Prime Minister. These people are much weaker than Pervez Musharraf. Hence, I can assure you, he will contest the elections, he'll win the elections, because he has a sympathy vote. There was a lot of atrocities perpetrated on him and on his family, and this propaganda of dishonesty and corruption, people are absolutely disillusioned with this. This was a malicious propaganda. And people
do you
believe...
think that... Rana Sahib, seconding what you're saying, I mean following from what you're saying, Naveed Sahib, you know what Rana Sahib is saying, do you think that in terms of the political climate, the legal climate overall, as far as the narrative of the former Prime Minister Imran Khan is concerned, and the fact that, now that these revelations are coming into light, we are also seeing, this Daily Mail vindication, of course, puncture a hole in that whole narrative of corruption that was put forward by Imran Khan Sahib and his government. Overall, do you think that this political climate is also dictating, leaving a lacuna, so to speak, which the former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, Mia Sahib will return and wants to, of course, the party wants that he should fill that vacuum and lead the party like he did, of course, earlier on.
Of course. I endorse and I second the opinion of Rana Sahib. Yes, Mia Sahib is coming and he is going to lead the party. The election, he'll be among his companions, followers before the elections. And definitely he will swallow the elections, I think. Because in my opinion, this Toshakhana matter, this Daily Mail matter, Imran Khan's all the blunders.
Because we've seen, like I said, it started from the conspiracy against,
the conspiracy theory, every theory,
everything,
every formula,
overall.
every narrative is thrown away by the public, by himself, by his party members.
And as far as the disillusion itself is concerned, it seemed to be that last card that he had up his sleeve, which he's shown, and now he seems to be backtracking.
He had played all the cards, all failed. Nothing succeeded. One thing he needs to learn, which he cannot learn. He speaks too much. He needs to learn from Xi Jinping, from Putin, from MBS, from Erdogan, from Mahathir, from Nawaz Sharif, and from Zardari. He needs to learn from all of them, but he will never learn anything from any of them. He speaks too much.
Right, on that note, thank you so much for being with us. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us, Rana Maqbool Ahmad Sahib, Naveed Aman Khan, thank you for being with us. Zahid Kashkori, thank you for joining us. Overall, as far as the political climate is concerned, certainly in the next few weeks, we'll know whether talks with the former Prime Minister will lead his own party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, back into the assemblies or not. Certainly, we are seeing a delay as far as the dissolution of assemblies is concerned, with the government adamant that they will complete their term. As far as the general election is concerned, it will be held on time. And whatever may happen, whatever the former Prime Minister may choose to do in the two provinces where he leads. Thank you so much for joining us today on Perspective.